Hello, students. Welcome to a hopefully simple and straightforward tutorial about downloading your finished Tinkercad files into a slicer and then printing them. So, this part will cover the stuff that you'll do on the computer, which is known as slicing. Basically, I've already made my files, and in this case, I'm going to download an STL or a copy of the finished file to download to my computer from the clouds uh, in the that Tinkercad is using. So I'm going to click on SDL and I'm going to check in my downloads folder. So it's important to note when you're finding stuff. Oh, look, my default program isn't opening up this. You shouldn't have this issue. Uh, it is important to note when you're downloading your files, make sure you've got a good name in here so you can find it easily. Because not only do you need to find it on the computer, you also need to find it on the printer. And if it's hard to find, you're going to have some issues. Uh, all of the computers in our computer lab should have this Dremel slicer in it, and you should see something that looks like this. So I've already got this set to the recommended settings, but now I need to find my file. So I'm going to go into downloads. Of course, I've got a Mac. This will look slightly different than what you'll see on your PCs, but it's essentially the same experience. And then I'm going to drag my file name into the center here. Now, sometimes, depending on your file, you might find things are over here. And basically, you needed to move it into the right spot. If you see any model that has this stripy experience, that means it is not ready to print. So we need to make sure that it is onto the print plate. And usually, the resulting file will look blue, like this. Now, there's a couple of things, little tricks that I know about that I'm going to go over here. First of all, this first tool is Move, which you can either move by clicking and dragging the whole object, or you can grab one of these arrows and put it where you want it. But we don't want it in the air. You'll notice that if I do drag it up into the air, it does fall down. And that's okay because it will automatically uh, go to the print surface because we need that. You'll also notice that I'm checking underneath to see that everything in here is red. And the reason why I need to do that is that if I have any mistakes or parts of the print that is off of that plate, it will not show as red, and that will be a clue to me that I need to do some fixing. Now, another thing I could do is right click. You can do things like center models. If you've got a lot of copies that you want to make, you can multiply. I'm going to say 2. And look at this. It's already got 2 in there. I could also arrange all models. Sometimes more successful than others. This one's a little bit less than successful, but if I put it into the blue plate area, it does change things up a bit. Oh, it's still doing that. Isn't that fun? Okay, so I'm just going to move this over here and this one over here. Now, the next thing you need to know about is scale. So if I click, I'm just going to get rid of one of these. If the size of your object, or you're either not sure about it or you're worried that it's too big, challenge 2, for instance, we don't want it to print anything over 10 millimeters. We can actually scale this up or down. In this case, if I put in 10, you'll see, I'm going to make sure snap scaling is on. That means any changes I make in here should go into the other parts as well. So let's try this out. I'm going to hit tab, and look at that. It automatically adjusted. Perfect. And this also works the other way around. If I want to make it smaller, I could do 100%, or I could do 50% to make it real teeny. And you can see the size in here changes and the values change in this part as well. So I'm going to undo that, leave it at 100. Oops, 100. Next, we have rotation. Sometimes if you've got a very complex model, you'll have a hard time getting it to fit on the plate. So you might have to do things like lay flat or reset things. But for most of the time, you guys hopefully won't need to worry about that. Okay, for most cases, now we're ready to slice. I'm going to go over the settings. We generally only have PLA, which is polylactic acid. So this will be the default material, and medium quality 2 millimeter or 0.2 millimeters high is going to be our default quality. And infill will also default at 20%. If you really want to get into things, there is a lot of options in terms of being able to tweak and change how things go. But for most people, to start, especially to start out with, we're just going to use these default settings. Now, if I did have something that was off the page, I might need generate support, but for most of the time, we want to avoid this as much as possible. So now we're going to do the next part, which is prepare. And you get this message here, slicing. And basically, it's generating a set of instructions for the printer and to see what it looks like when it's how it's going to print. So if I go to layers here, you can actually see the actual lines that it's going to be using in here. And if you're really interested, you could check out what it would look like layer by layer, and it even shows the travel paths. Okay, desktop. Okay. Here it is. All right, now this is ready to put onto my flash drive and into the printer. And that's it for now. Thank you.